Hello, everybody. Recording live from somewhere.
Lord. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing
Was I muted that whole time? That sucks. Anyway, let me go back. We can do this. Welcome to the show. Like, follow, comment, and share if you're watching live right now on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, or TikTok. We appreciate you watching. Appreciate you watching, and be sure and get some shares out there so we can get some more people here. Last week it was an open mic. We had a canceled guest, so your face could be here. Hit us up at triplethreatbets@gmail.com if you want to come on and tell your story. We really appreciate it. If you don't watch the live show here every Thursday at 7 p.m., you can catch us wherever you get your podcast, Amazon, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get them. It'll be a lot of fun there. I want to give a big shout out to Got Your Six, sameflagsameoath.com. They make all the gear for the show. sameflagsameoath.com. And big shout out to Becky Jo Art. I think they're going to be going live here in the next couple days, showing off some of her stuff. So check that out at beckyjoart.com or Becky Jo Art at all of her socials. She can be found everywhere. Big shout out to what they're doing over at Project Zero. They got all kinds of stuff going on. One of the big things that we will be a part of with the Triple Threat Bet podcast is the 5th Memorial Golf Scramble at Willow Fork Country Club. That'll be Monday, September 14th, 2026, 7 a.m. registration, 8 p.m. shotgun start. Last year, Mitchell Roofing won. They're the defending champions, but Grant Garrison will definitely be coming back as the 3-time champ, hoping to make himself a 4-time champ. But Mitchell Roofing and Grant Garrison, they got a little thing going on, a little bit of a competition to raise money for the Project Zero. So as always, Kyle Shudick doing great things with the Project Zero Alliance. Give them a share, like them on their social media, and come out and support the 5th annual Memorial Golf Scramble. Today we're going to be talking with Danny Archer, but I wanted to be sure we talk about, and show what he's doing. On August 1st, he's actually starting VALOR Farms Level 1 groundwork, lunging, stalls, and feeding equine therapy for veterans and first responders. He'll talk about that in just a second. But I know that Matt's going to talk about this, so I'll hold off on talking about that. But we always love to shout out our first responders, especially those with the Houston Fire Department and the Houston Police Department. Great friends with the program. They've allowed us to come out and do play-by-play for some of those games. A lot of those veterans and that are firefighters and law enforcement, playing the veterans versus celebrity softball game that the Texas Veteran Athletic Association puts out. So this is going to be sponsored and presented by 300 Justice Road. That is a veteran cook team in the Texas Pitmasters. They'll be at the Danny Dietz here in September. But today, we've got Danny Archer. But before we get to Danny Archer, I do want to talk a little bit about myself. Today's my birthday. I'm turning 51 today. And I just want to give a big shout out and thank you to First of all, my wife, my children, my wife Sarah, my children. Oh, we got some lightning. Hopefully the power don't go out. Got my wife Sarah, my oldest daughter Kenzie, Tylee, Kason, Trinity, Cadence, and Tatum. My grandson Maverick, and my soon-to-be grandson that Cadence is about to have in September. You guys have given me an amazing life, pre-military, during the military, and post-military. I appreciate you guys very much, and I appreciate all the love that I've gotten through social media and the So Smoking Gooder show. The Gooder Gang has really inundated my timelines on social medias with happy birthday wishes. I appreciate you guys very much, and love y'all. But without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on Matt Johnson.
Yeah, thanks, Ty. And, happy birthday to you and happy birthday to Sarah. It's cool for you guys to go out there and have a good time, enjoy Galveston, and stay in a haunted hotel. I don't know, but I think that's pretty fun. So it's another Thursday. We're coming to you live again with another amazing guest. And as we always say, we love that you're here. We love that you come in and tune into us. But the best way that you can help us is to like, subscribe, and just tell all your friends that are also bored doing nothing to have entertainment while they drink their beer. So without further ado, I don't know, Ty, what do you think? Everything's going good? Everything's fine? Let's maybe jump into it. So one thing that we want to talk about with everybody today as we get started, we're coming up on September 11th. Unique to it, right? 25th anniversary of 9/11. For most of us veterans, we remember where we were and what was going on that day in our service. And, there's a lot of kids out there nowadays that don't even know that this thing happened or have that memory of when it happened. So here in Houston, the fire department, police department, every year put on a Battle of the Badge charity baseball game. So we've got some good friends out at 300 Justice Road nonprofit that helps with recovery in disaster situations, and they have a barbecue team, and they're just amazing individuals over there. Our partner up with HPD and Houston Fire to put this game on September 11th, 7 p.m. at Rice's Baseball Stadium in Houston, Texas. If you're bored, this is where you want to be. Our whole goal is to pack the stadium. Our whole goal is to show support for our law enforcement and firefighters and let them know as a community we got their back. There is time now to jump in and sponsor. If you want to sponsor one of the teams, you want to sponsor the national anthem. Hell, you could even sponsor the opening pitch if you want to. How cool would that be? Throwing the pitch out on 9/11 for a game like this. So I just wanted to reach out and let everybody know that this is coming up. And if you want to get involved, you can reach out to us, or you can look up it online and reach out and see what you can do to support. So it's going to be a good time. Can't wait to see everybody out there and watch a good game of baseball. And who knows, there might be a brawl. It's the baseball field. It's firefighters, it's law enforcement officers. They're playing a baseball game. It's all for fun until somebody throws a pitch.
Ain't that the truth?
Right? Yeah, man.
Yeah, I always love watching the firemen and the police smokers back in the day in the military. So it's a lot of fun. There are heroes, everyday heroes that are doing a lot of the same things and having to deal with a lot of the same PTSD that we do. So it's great to see them getting out there and being with each other. And I know the company's making the t-shirts or the uniforms for it. How's that going?
Oh yeah, man. We have the uniforms have been designed. They've been approved. They're going to be purchased. So who knows, man? Maybe before the game, we can get a couple of the players from each team on, and we can do like a uniform reveal for everybody to see what they look like. They're going to be pretty dope. Both, I will just key you in, are throwbacks. So that's going to be all I can tell you about that. Throwbacks in some form or fashion, and both teams have some pretty cool throwbacks they're going to wear this year. But yeah, this is always a fun time of year for Got Your Six, because we've been involved with the Houston Law Dogs for a couple of years now, and we got introduced to the Fire Dogs last year. So helping police officers, firefighters, first responders, helping them in these games and kind of making some gear they're going to wear during their baseball seasons is always a good time. So I can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, without further ado, I just want to say, we've had Danny Archer on. You can catch his full episode about his military career on episode 136. You can catch that on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. But today we're going to be talking about Valor Farms. I mean, it's we'll bring without further ado, let's just bring Danny Archer on, ladies and gentlemen. Danny Archer.
There he is. There he is. What's going on, sir?
Hello, everybody. No, I'm traveling. I'm up in Chicago right now, up in a hotel, waiting to get on up. He's walking by. Hi, how are you? You can get on if you'd like. We're live. I'm in a hallway of a hotel. So
nice.
That's pretty
You're
cool.
gonna have
I'm totally going to have a crowd.
They're going to be clapping. Danny,
yeah,
Danny,
and I'm loud as hell.
Danny.
You know that, right? So
yeah. Well, to talk to you, learn about your service, learn about the things that you did serve in your country, but we did not get too much into the things that are super important to what you're working towards nowadays, right? I know that you do the job you did when we talked before. You do loans and help veterans in that every day, but your real passion is helping veterans on that healing. I know today what we want to talk with you about is Valor Farms. So before we get into that, in case you missed that episode and you didn't put two and two together, could you give us just a quick snapshot of your background, career in the military, and then I want to go directly into what Valor Farms is.
yeah, sure. So was in the Army for 27 years. I did 6 years in the 2nd Ranger Battalion, and then switched over, became an officer through OCS flight school, assessed, and then spent the next 19 years in the 160th as a pilot. So throw flight school in the middle of that, there's a 27-year career. Just like everybody else, whenever you start walking towards the door, I lost some friends along the way because they didn't transition well. One of my close buddies, did make it, and honestly, it shook me, because I'm 140% or zero. If anybody that knows me, I'm a little bit of an extremist, and recognize that, I self-identified, like, hey man, you're probably at risk, right? Like, you are peaks or highs and lows that you try to maintain here. But so I found the mortgage business and I found horses simultaneously. And then, just because my daughter was volunteering and riding at a place, had a crazy interaction with a horse, realized that it was something special. It was good for me. It was somebody else. And 2 months later, I started a program. So 2.5-year journey. I started what was called the Equine Valor Project with another guy. And then I got pretty good at VA loans, and I ended up in the top 1% of VA loan officers in the nation. And put myself in a position where I could buy a horse farm, and I did. And we moved there in January, moved horses there in March. Some growing pains with, the Equine Valor Project, and eventually we ended up splitting ways just because owning all the liability and financial risk of a farm, I needed to make sure I had accredited license to execute the plan or execute the training in case something was wrong and you go into an accident investigation. I wanted to have documented people in place, and hence, it ended, unfortunately. It was honestly, it was a little tragic for me because, my heart and soul for 2.5 years, but stood up Valor Farms and partnered with the lead trainer of the Savannah Mounted Police, Shannon Dunlap. She could, what? Giving you a little shout out, and got 5 horses. First class starts on the 1st, and then we start doing some 4-hour, 1-day immersion classes as well in August. So kind of an unleashing. It's been a crazy journey. But it's, for me, it's all about trying to move the needle and help as many people as I can. So it's whether it's mortgages or in the nonprofit support world, I love it. And honestly, anybody that is out there doing it and wants to connect, please look me up, shoot me a message, especially if you're somewhere else, because I probably have somebody moving to an area, and that's the next wave of support, is trying to get collaborative partnerships nationwide with different genres of support to offer to everybody.
Yeah, real quick. So let's unpack a little bit that we have there, right? So you found the horses because your daughter was on a farm, I guess, volunteering or riding horses at the time.
Yep. She was doing both.
So I think it's good to refresh it back a little bit to because we did touch on horse therapy and what it does for veterans with equine therapy a little bit in the last time, but walk us through, like, you self-identified, you had issues, things you were trying to get through. What kind of things had you tried to get help with prior to your experience with a horse and realizing that was the thing for you that helped? Like, what other things had you tried that you were just like, I'm really trying to figure this out, and it's, you know, it didn't connect until that point? Let's kind of like go back to there to kind of get to the point where it's like, oh my gosh, this thing's going to be massive.
Yeah. No, I did what everybody else does and ignored it for the predominance of everything, right? Just sucked it up. Now I'm good. And then it took, you know, my buddy, you know, drinking himself to death, essentially, that shook me by the shoulders. You know, yeah, I did, you know, I had to, because of some shootouts and stuff, you know, flying helicopters and whatnot, we had to talk to behavioral health. But shit, man, I mean, it's hard to talk about that stuff, right? So what was crazy is the immediate benefit of being near a horse, the calming effect. And you didn't have to talk about it, right? You like, it's not that I don't want to talk about some stuff. It's just a matter of, you know what? Sometimes somebody's not invited. And it's whenever you spent the predominance of your military career saying, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then you're not really. And I know everybody, if they're listening to this, that's probably 100%. I mean, shit, in the 90s and early 2000s, you prided on the fact of how much you could actually endure and continue. Yeah. And, you know, getting to the end of your military career, when all of a sudden you're going through, like, you know, your disability evaluations and stuff, and you're like, list all the things that are wrong with you, and you start writing it down. I'm like, no bullshit. I think I aged 15 years in like 2 months because of all of a sudden I acknowledged the pain. I acknowledged the things that were wrong with me that I had just been stuffing away. I'm like, nah, I'm good, dude. I'll just take some more Celebrex or some more Motrin and just go, because this is what it's like. Mm-hmm. And that's, for me, I think that's this is the one thing that I want everybody to get from this, is that seeking these kinds of things, you can get involved without saying, you know what, I'm a little fucked up. You know, like, you don't need to get like a doctor to tell you, like, hey, you need to go find a horse and hug it. Like, no, man, like, I'm telling you how I did it is I did it just honestly, completely passively. I wanted to go out there and I just wanted to crush myself and do all this, like, 107 degrees in Savannah, Georgia, just hot as hell, and just punish myself, because honestly, like, for the first time in my life, I felt like a failure, you know, because, like, I couldn't physically do it anymore. I mean, that was hard to register. You know what I mean? Like, man, I'm like medically disqualified right now. Like, I can't continue the mission, and that's all you know. Mm-hmm. And you know, then I ended up in a stall with a horse, and, you know, I really had no interest in riding. You know, because my back's jacked, my knees are jacked, you know, but I didn't realize what taking care of a horse and grooming a horse and leading a horse. And one of my favorite things to do is just take a horse on a lead line and just walk around, let him ground graze. Just walk him like a dog, and then just go over here, and we'll go over here. And you're just hanging out, just talking to him a little bit. You don't got to say anything really worth shit. You're just talking to him, right? But because a horse is a massive beast, right? But they're a prey animal. And because they're a prey animal, they don't understand really how big they are. So they look to you for, like, strength and guidance. Like, and so once you kind of establish that, hey, look, you're following me, like, I've got you, like, let's go. They kind of just lock in. And then once that happens, man, the magic starts, and it's amazing.
Yeah. So talk about so all of the going into the stall, being by the horse, that's all the inspiration behind which, you know, like, man, this works for me. Walk us through, like, the first encounter, right? Like, you didn't just, like, all of a sudden end up in the pen. I'm sure it took a lot. No interest in riding horses, no interest in being around them. Like, did you even want to be there the day that you went? Was it just your
No.
turn to go? Like, walk us through,
No.
like, yeah, like walk us through, like, oh shit, like, oh my God, what just happened? Like, it's all chance things that happen, but it put you there for a reason.
Yeah, no, I will tell you exactly. It all started with a water hose. The water hose has cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, that's what I will tell you. I was sitting in my truck, just dicking off on my phone when my daughter's over there, like, they're feeding the horses after their lesson. And they had one of those big water hoses, with the big external spool. And the hose came out of the edges and got all chewed up, and they couldn't do anything. And I'm in my flip-flops in my truck, and I'm just like, like the compulsive, stuff in me was like, ugh. So I'm like, climb out of the truck. I'm like, move, and I'm just like, unwind it. And I just, reel it back in. It's nice and beautiful and tight, But I look down and I'm wearing flip-flops, and I realize my feet are all muddy. I'm like, son of a bitch. Right. So I'm like, the next time I'm going to wear different shoes. And so I do. Well, then guess what? Well, then, they need help with this. So let me just go over here and do this thing. Cause like little girls and women that were working there at the time, they couldn't do a lot of the stuff. And it's, just a strength thing. Right. So I just started to kind of take it upon myself to just go do all of the things that you just sat around that were undone just because of just the muscle movement required. And I just started attacking them. And I wasn't even doing anything with the horses. And then they started to feed, and they're like, hey, do you want to help, like refill water buckets and stuff like that? And somehow I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm soaked, I'm sweating my ass off. And I end up in the stall with this horse, and we locked eyes. And it was like, this thing was like staring into my soul. It was like doing this, like assessing me. And I'm like, oh shit, what's going on? You know what I mean? And honestly, it felt like it was like freaking 10 minutes. It was probably, 30 seconds in all reality. But then after that, man, I kind of started to have a bond with that horse. And then I got to where I would hang out with that horse and cradle its head in my arm and have his, like his chin right here. And then I would like kind of rub on his jaw. And this big ass horse would go like this and just start to go to sleep in my arm. And I was like, man, well, how badass is that? Right. So I started to ask questions. I'm like, hey, I feel a lot better. Have you ever had like a veterans program here or anything? And, the lady was running, she's like, oh no, I did, but it was pre-COVID, and she didn't know any more veterans or whatnot. And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm a veteran, and now I know hundreds of veterans, that's something that you're interested in. I mean, we could do that. So we talked about it a bit more. And 2 months later, we started a program. We got our first class, and that put me on on this journey.
Yeah, I do have a quick question, because I'm not a horse expert. I do like watching Yellowstone, and they do a really good job at riding them. Is it normal to lock eyes with the horse, walk into a horse, and after just a couple of times of being around the horse, it like leans into you, falls asleep? Or because what I've heard about horses is, number one, if the horse knows you're a shithead, they are not going to come around you. They're going to be very skittish, and they're going to kind of let you know, if you walk in here, you're going through the wall. But also, if they see something in you that makes them comfortable, then they'll let you stand there and pet them. But how common is it for them to just completely be like, I've seen this guy a couple times, I think I can take a nap in his arm? Is that normal?
I don't know that it's normal. I mean, I've always had a way with animals. I just never tried it with horses. I think you have to be, one, in the right mental space, mindset, right? If you're carrying all your bullshit around and you're, muttering and, like, that horse isn't going to do anything with you. I think, probably, I found, some solace in the work and the sweat and just kind of like exfoliating my soul, if that makes sense. And I was probably in the exact mental space for him to go, hey, and then realize, oh, he's a good dude. He's got a good heart. Like, he's just a little messed up. I think that we can do something here. Mm-hmm. And, but because I'm blunt when people come out there, I'm like, look, I need you to leave your bullshit at the gate. Like, don't bring it in here. Like, you come in here, zero expectation. be open to everything, and just enjoy, right? Just register, be with the animals, take care of them, because they're going to reflect what you give, right? So if you're giving tense, angry energy, they're totally going to be a pain in the ass for you. But if you're going there and you're like peaceful and you're comforting to the animal, like the animal's just going to give it right back. And it's really awesome once you learn the indicators of like, oh, they're jiving, right? Their head comes down, their eyes start to get a little like droopy, you know. They'll start chewing their mouth like this, called like chewing cud. And it's just like a sign that they're relaxing with you and they're just kind of like hanging out and they like it. And you know, the symbiotic relationship, like that history of men and horses, or you know, like humans and horses together. I mean, shit, like their heart is 5 times bigger than ours. But what magically happens is whenever you're around a horse and you kind of start locking in, you're like energy and all that stuff start to overlap, and your heart rate will actually slow and match their heart rate. Like, how freaking crazy is that?
That's super cool.
Like, and they'll start creating, you know, naturally start producing serotonin, and you will too. So it becomes this like very positive, mutually beneficial relationship where your energies are starting to interlock. And that's where, like, I mean, how can you, I don't know, like you put a few horses and everybody doing like grooming and jiving, and you're in, like, say you're in the walkway of the barn and you've got a couple of horses out and everybody's kind of doing that. Dude, that's just like a huge electric magnetic field of super powerful and positive energy. And when you leave, you realize, like, man, I don't have the bite anymore. I feel super calm. I'm gonna sleep like a baby tonight, you know, like, now granted, you know, the chaos comes back, right? So that's why it's just like a pain reliever. You got to keep at it, keep going, right? But it's magical.
Yeah, but I mean, I would imagine what you're describing, though. I'm glad you just said what you said, because in so many programs, right, you could go do whatever it is that the program offers, right? And while you're there and you're experiencing it, it's all good, right? You're able to kind of reflect, you're able to kind of work through some things, but it's only a matter of time, like you said, before the shit comes back, right? The thing I like about what you guys are doing there is, like, if you just need to get away from it all, be like, hey, can I come take care of the horse for a little bit, you know, or whatever. Like, if they're like, just get out there by them, right? And it's something almost like when I need them, I can come see them, and vice versa, right? So how much of a YouTube deep dive did you do to learn about horses, or were you able to get that education with the people that you originally met, or both?
Well, I mean, let's just be blunt. I'm a freaking idiot, right? I get a little bit of info and I just go. I'm 140 miles an hour, and so I got just what I thought. I mean, shit. Yeah, I'm like, I'm good. I got it. You know, oh, horse is good. You know, like, and so once that kind of started, because each horse has its own personality and it's got its own little benefit, and each one's gonna have its own little quirks and whatnot. And I got fascinated by it. And honestly, we ended up getting a retired police horse there, and his name was Olaf, and he was, you know, he got retired, and he's a giant. You know, but one of the coolest things, so those are, like, you can see there, those are pictures of Grant, our retired mounted police horse that we have at Mount VALOR Farms. We've had him for about 3 weeks. And like, you want to talk about standing next to a dinosaur. That dude's 18 hands, a black Percheron, and physically intimidating. And you stand next to that big boy, you better pay attention, because if he steps on your foot, he's doing some damage. He's 2,000 pounds, you know,
and doesn't know it, by the way, and doesn't know it.
No idea. He thinks he's a freaking puppy. And dude, I'm walking out with this T-Rex, right? Taking him out to his little pasture. And there's these 2 small deer in like one of the little paddocks we have. And they were trying to run around, but the gate was closed, and he's scared shitless. He's like, oh shit, what is that? You know, like, oh, he won't move. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, God, do you see those crazy monsters over there? I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like,
Yeah.
of course.
Meanwhile,
they
they're running in
eventually-
circles. Like, how the
Dude,
do we get out of
yeah,
here? Do you see
yeah,
that
exactly.
thing coming?
They end up
Yeah.
doing like this jump endo flip over the fence. It was a shit show,
That's awesome.
but he's just standing there like, oh, frozen in the trail. Like, oh, what is that?
Yeah.
Now
So-
he realizes that every night 30 of them come out and feed right next to him now. So
Yeah. So now they're friends.
yeah.
So walk me through a little bit, or not a little bit, but walk me through. Like, if you were to start and go participate with Valor Farms in a program, I know you said you got some classes coming up. Kind of fill us in, like, soup to nuts. Like, this is how you get into the program. This is what you need to expect going through it, and this is kind of what it means for you to be finished with it or get through it, right? Because we know that it's an everyday thing and it's a continuous improvement thing, right? You're never going to truly graduate from a program and be all good.
Right.
But to go through your program beginning to end, what does that kind of look like?
Yeah, no. So, we have two different versions. And so what I try to at least welcome people to is, like, before you think you have any kind of interest in this, shoot me a message, just come out and feed with me one day, or get, like, you don't have to be the primary. You just come out there, like, and just help out, because it's a good introduction just to see, like, hey, maybe because committing to a 6-week program with, like, maybe, like, that's hard, So I'm like, look, come out here and feed horses, kind of get oriented and see what the place is all about. And then from there, if you sign up for the class, I think we're doing we have 12 people signed up, but we have the potential for 3 6-people classes. And so, the class is 6 weeks, and it's going to essentially start with the basics of horse knowledge, parts, how to, like, lead lines on, lead, feed, all that kind of things. And then it just slowly progresses through horse care to eventually you're going to end up on a horse and you're going to take it around the arena, and if that's where you don't want to go, you can totally stop wherever you're comfortable with. Like, that's okay. Like I've told people before, I've been doing this for at this point, 3 years and change, I guess. And I've probably ridden 10 times because,
Yeah,
as
I
much
remember
as
last time when we talked to you, you were like, I am not riding a horse, but you love, like you said earlier, you get to walk the horse with the leads, take it around, it eats, it feeds, you get to talk to the horse, you're just kind of going on a stroll with it. Is there, like, is there an application process, or how
Yes.
do you select people to get into the program? Other than just try it out, feed the horse, but, like, when they know they want to get in, what does that look like?
If you go to the valorfarms.org website, there's an apply here button. If you click on that, it's just a few questions. It kind of puts your contact information, what military branch you were in, and kind of the basics of your goals. And that will start the communication process. And then at that point, then we'll just kind of, either me or somebody else on the team will, and actually Matt made that website for me. So if you click on the apply now button, I saw it at least on the phone. I'm assuming it's there. I don't have my reading glasses on, so I'm just going to say you're looking at it.
Yeah,
that should take you. It should take you to a questionnaire, and then that kind of gets us going. I mean, honestly, at that point, once I get your contact information, I'm probably, or somebody from the team is going to reach out and say, "Hey, why don't you come out, see the place, meet some horses? Maybe you get on the feeding schedule, help out. Because I mean, nobody's gonna bitch if some extra person shows up to help.
Oh yeah. You want to come work with us, horses, shit, and feeding? Please do. We'll take you all day long.
Yeah, for sure.
But once they reach out and do the contact me, I'm interested in the program.
Yep.
For what and if you can even share, what do they need to expect and know that is going to be asked, or is there anything you can talk about that you guys talk about with people that you may select for the program, so that they're aware that, like, it's not, what I'm getting at is, it's not just send me your name and number and then we're going to put you in it, right? I'm sure there's more that needs to go into that. And so is there any of that you're able to talk about on how people get into the program, or is it like case by case? Like,
I mean, A little bit, because like the thing is I mean, you know, a veteran's kind of status is it's the wide gamut of things, right? So, you know, what are you, do you have any physical limitations, you know, like medications, like, you know, what kind of help and support do you need? Because in the end, like there's the ability to help most anybody, but if you're, you know, have some issues, that you might be better off on like a one-on-one process. We have to decide before we like put somebody and have a conversation either with the veteran or the veteran spouse. And honestly, in one of those situations, I'd probably try to get them both to come out there. If we have the spaces available, I'd bring a couple out there in a heartbeat, because
Good point.
one doesn't affect the other. You know what I mean? They both, if one's struggling, they're both struggling, right?
So that's a
huge,
very interesting point. So you guys would actually that's a pretty, you know, what do we call that? That's a unique feature and benefit to your program, that you can bring out a spouse, or do you guys bring kids out too and the family go through together? Is that a possibility, or is it more like, I would imagine more spouses working things out together helps them like navigate through things, right? But the fact that spouses and their veteran service member, they can go through together.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If you have the room.
That's right. And I think that ultimately is the perfect scenario. With children, no, because I'll be honest, our horses are ginormous, right? So you don't really want little kids running around there, just because, you know, Grant steps on a little kid's foot and it's probably coming off, right? Like he's a giant. So it's not really like now it doesn't mean that they can't come out, but they just can't like go into the stalls with the horse or go out into the field with the horses. They can meet them over the fence or over the stall doors all day long. So, but you know, for the class though, no, I would love to have couples, because, but here's the thing, I would have couples, but I would separate them, because
into two different groups,
two different horses, because like you're going to go over here with Grant, you're going to go over here with Susie or Flip or, you know, Atlas, or, you know, we have 5 horses now. So, because if the spouse is also struggling because of the chaos, she needs to have her own moment as well. And I don't want it to be just about one. I want them both to experience it.
Yeah.
I mean,
and so how have you guys had the ability to do that yet? Have you seen that, and any couples go through the program?
So, you know, our first class, at least with VALOR Farms, is going to be on the 1st. But, you know, here's an interesting, like, cool thing. You know, there's a couple that, you know, is signed up for the class, did this exactly what we talked about. We got on a phone call, walked the dog with him, and they were, you know, he's been out for a few years and was struggling, but then was also in a motorcycle wreck. And, you know, for the both of them, and they were on 4, 5 months, 6 months of like recovery, not really going outside, like whatever, like he was in a funk for a hot minute. And they came out and met the horses, and he's fed every day and night since he's come out.
Wow.
Like, how freaking cool is that?
That is cool.
You know, she's just like, man, it's given him something. You know, like now he loves it. I'm like, I mean, because it doesn't have to be, and that's kind of the whole point of all of this. It was like, people think, oh, well, I got to have, like, you know, the doctor's got to say I did this. I'm like, and I actually made a reel about that. Like, look, man, you don't got to have like a doctor referral or, you know, be labeled, you know, whatever. Like, no, man, you could just say, I want to go get involved. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the more people that come out and have those positive experiences, and then share that, like, you know, the knowledge that, hey, this program is here in Richmond Hill, Georgia. Like, holy shit. Like, most people like, man, oh, anybody that's been in that area at least knows about the farm in some capacity, but didn't realize, like, oh, that's there. Like, oh, wow, that's really cool. Yeah, let's go get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. So in I know you've been doing it for 3 years. So we kind of touched a little bit for how you got involved with the horses, but from a therapeutic perspective, a mindset perspective, or what it does to help you personally, or in the last 3 years, what are the big things you see that equine therapy does for yourself or veterans? I know that you said it makes you, you have, clear mind and all that stuff, but like overall, what's been like, if you were to elevator pitch somebody and go, this is what this can do for you, if it's up your alley or if it's something that's going to help you, what would that be? What do you see?
Well, I mean, honestly, I will say you don't even have to be a horse person for it to be something, right? Warm water feels good. Like, so I will tell you, you don't have to be like, oh, I don't have any interest in riding. I'm like, good, because I don't have to put you on a horse, right? But like getting you out of your daily circle, your daily rhythm of just shit that a lot of us will get into, and you like, I get up and I have my coffee and I go to the bathroom and I watch this show and, like I might go work out or I might not. And like, it's dinner time. Like there's a lot of people that I think get out and they just go inside. I know I started to do it. And like, I recognize them like, shit, you got to go do something. And that's honestly, after the hose thing, that's what I'm like, I'll just go and help and I'll do stuff so that I don't stay at home all day long, because when you don't have to go somewhere, you probably won't for a while. And at first you'll be like, I'll give myself a break. But that break turns into a ginormous funk. And
hundreds of thousands of dollars water hose is what it turns into.
Yeah, it's exactly. That damn water hose, but yeah, man. I mean, I will tell you, I mean, at this point in my life, the way things are going, man, I'm just, when an opportunity comes, I just say yes. Do you know what I mean? I just go with it. Like, it's crazy. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I think, oh man, I should, like, oh, we need this, or like, oh, whatever. And then like the next one or two people I talk to, it's like the exact fix to the problem. And I just recognize it. I'm just like, wow, it happened again. You call it divine intervention or the universe, whatever. I'm just on it. And I try to tell everybody, when you're leaving service and you have a plan, that plan is not a no-fail mission, right? You're going to have a plan, and if it's the wrong thing and it doesn't work out, it's probably not supposed to. Acknowledge that. And then acknowledge whenever another opportunity comes up, and don't be afraid to pivot. So
no, yeah, that's a good point, because oftentimes, when we get out, and I felt like this a little bit getting out. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get a job when I get out. Right, I retired. I'm out. I'm gonna go get a job. I'm gonna be in that job for 20 years. Right? You think that
exactly,
and then when you get out, you're like, oh snap. It's way different over here. But then what I realized, things that I think about, I think the reason, me personally, everybody else can have their opinions on it, but I think the reasons veterans don't realize they've always gone through that suck all the time is because every 3 years or so, right, things are changing, but every 12 months, new people are coming in. So there was always, within the same command unit structure organization, there was always a different challenge or problem to solve, and it was always unique, but you were still in the same thing. We didn't realize that it didn't have time to suck sometimes, but you represented a new problem. But what we don't realize when you come out on the civilian side, we don't equate that the same way. Like, you go into work at company X and you're in this group of people, you're never going to see anyone new unless somebody quits and someone else gets hired. The advantage of you being in that team atmosphere of the military is there's always a rotation of people coming in there. So you're always going to be surrounded by new people. And I think that's what spoils us, is because we were constantly seeing new people and meeting new people and having new challenges. And when you get high enough as a senior NCO or an officer, leadership challenges and mentorship challenges and things you can help people with, because there was always someone new that you could help, but they looked just like you because they were still wearing a uniform. Whereas when you get out, I've been here for 6 months and I think I've changed everything that I could change. There's nothing else to change. Now, what am I going to do? This sucks. I don't know. You know what I mean? And so it's good that you put it like that to people, is like, the next thing may not be the forever thing, and that's okay. And that messes us up because we're like, no, I'm committed and I get things done. I don't quit. And you're like, quitting isn't necessarily saying you give up. It just means you recognize you need to go a different direction, right? And it was hard for me to realize that when I got out. I was like, oh my God, they told me I was going to have multiple jobs. And I was like, no way. And then I'm like, oh shit, I am multiple jobs.
But but it's important for people to understand that as they're transitioning, because like I love, and I do this all the time. I see somebody on LinkedIn, transitioning veteran, you know, and I will shoot that person a message. I'm like, hey, look, like we should probably hop on a call, because I'm going to give you some old guy wisdom about transitioning, because everybody searches for their next 20-year job. And the harsh reality is it's okay to pivot a few times. Who gives a shit, man? You've got 20, 30, 40 years left of life. You don't have to make whatever it is that you initially signed up for. And you're like, I hate my job. Like you don't have to keep doing it. Like, especially if you have retirement and disability. You know, what is that? On the gambler, the position of fuck you, right? Like,
yeah,
that's it. So like, you don't have to make shit water into fucking lemonade.
Incredible actor.
We trained ourselves that embracing the suck and dealing with the bullshit was the way to get things done. And that means that you were really good at your job because you could overcome adversity and you could perform in stressful situations. But the whole time, probably 80% of the time, you're like, I fucking hate my job. But when you get out now, you're like, it was the best ever. And you're like, wait a minute, hold on. I've talked to you a lot when you were in, and you know what I mean? Like, it's interesting that most people don't see that. You know, there's things I talk about too. Veterans that I just said that made us resilient people, whether you're soldier, sailor, Marine, you know, Space Force, Coast Guard, it doesn't matter. You're resilient and you overcame adversity all the time, right? We get out and now we only talk to like one HR person and two people in your company. And in today's world, probably 80% of that is virtually on a computer. You don't know how to overcome adversity or kind of figure it out, or just go, it's okay for me to move on to the next thing. It's just so funny how we think we're so battle tested, right? Thick skin, can overcome it all. There's not anything that you can't throw at me that I can't overcome. And then we go work a job for, you know, a month and you're like, fuck this, I'm out. Like, wait a minute, hold on. What happened? Where are you at? And it messes with you a little bit, but getting the word out there to let people know, like, that's normal and you're going to do it and it's okay, I think is the message we need to get to people, because that's where I think a lot of people get into that rut, is when that happens to them once or twice, they start to feel like it's not okay and they're not productive and they're not making a difference and there is no purpose. And, you know, they start to let all that, that dark ash creep in that clouds their judgment to what's really going on. And so you're just trying to figure it out. It's all good. You're back to the delayed entry program, going to boot camp and getting your feet wet again. It's okay to do that. Like, give up and let people know you have no, I don't even know. I don't know. I'm going to need you to teach all this shit to me. And it's okay to do that because you learned early in your career in the military. Like, you always have to be learning. And if you're not, then you're either going to get left behind or you're going to be put out through higher tenure or not being able to promote because you're just not willing to adapt and overcome, right? Same thing on the outside. I just wish people would realize that more. And I listen, I dealt with my own issues on that stuff. And I still have to work at understanding that you're not going to be the best at everything and know everything. And the biggest one for me is patience. I have none. And I feel like I'm good at a lot of things, right? You're jack of all trades, master of none, but I feel like it should move a lot faster than it does sometimes. And when it doesn't, then, you know, you start cursing at the wall when you should just go walk into the bathroom and curse at yourself in the mirror, but you don't do it. And you're always trying to find the quick fix. But the one thing I have learned in doing real estate and growing an apparel company, doing all that, you got to be patient. It's not going to happen overnight. And you got to put that work in to build it over some time. And then eventually, like right now for me, it's starting to move in a direction that I like because all the stuff that's come before has kind of worked out, right? But if you would have told me that when I retired, I'd have been like, bullshit, it's just going to happen tomorrow, you know? And so, like, patience is a virtue, and that's a real thing. And we more kind of need to have that, right? Especially if you're trying to build. Building's not going to be overnight. So I like that you tell people, hey, let me tell you, you're not looking for forever right now.
No. And here's the other thing that I try to tell people to be concerned about is that, like, industry knows you're used to answering a phone call and leaving your family within hours. Questions asked on a moment's notice, because that's the mission. And too many times people will transition with that same intensity and need and requirement, because they turn whatever they're doing into a no fail mission. I did the same shit, you know, but here's the thing. When they realize, and this is, and I get this a lot when I talk to clients, you know, like I'm not just doing their loan, man, I'm doing a life check, you know, I'm doing the mentorship thing. Like, man, how are you doing? Like you transitioned how long ago? Like, what are you doing for yourself? And almost to 100%, they're not doing shit because they're, you know, all in on work because that's all they know. Work covers the chaos. And industry will totally take advantage of that and exploit the shit out of that. And I tell people, like, look, you need to understand. And many of these companies, especially if you're like a higher level person, will pay you 100, put you on the road 6 months out of the year because you're used to doing it. And they're going to get that. But in the end, for them, it's all about a dollar amount. And once they realize that, that's whenever people end up circling back to me, they're like, dude, you're totally right. Like, I can't stand this shit. I'm like, and that's honestly, I end up having those conversations because, man, I get them into my business because it's about, if you like to coach, teach, and mentor soldiers, like you can fill your purpose cup doing what I do because I just mentor. It's mission planning. Here you are. Here's where you want to go. What obstacles are in the way? What route are we going to take? And how quickly do we need to get there? That's buying a house.
So, Danny, I got a question for you real quick. So we're coming up on 45 minutes. I know you got a flight here. So I just kind of want to sum up with this. Enlisted in the Ranger Regiment, you know, doing Ranger stuff, Ranger Bat, doing Ranger stuff, became an officer, Chinook pilot. You shared your stories in episode 136, got out of the military. How has going through equine valor therapy made you a better mortgage loan officer, a better family man, and how's it changed your life?
Well, I mean, that's an interesting question because it's layers, but it's all layered because for me, it's all veteran care. You know, getting out and struggling, I've now tripped over that log 42 times myself because it takes 42 times exactly for me to learn a freaking lesson, right? Because I'm a Brutus. I'm resilient. I'm the guy that will run myself through a wall because I only know I need to go this direction. And I had to learn that I'm running into this wall because that's not my path. And so I've kind of become like more of this, like, and it sounds a little hokey, but I've just kind of like, oh, well, you know what? Maybe I should go this way. And becoming more, I tell everybody there's your plan for getting out of the military and there's life's plan. And life doesn't give a shit about your plan. So don't be so stuck into it. You know, how's like the horses and stuff helped me personally? What it does for me is, look, everybody seeks purpose. Right? Like that, if there's any one thing that taking off the uniform and losing your formation and all of that purpose and everything that drives every action of every day, when that's gone, you're left alone. And I made a post not long ago about turning in your badge and driving away from the compound for the last time, you know, like that you're actually invited in. And the harsh reality of like the next few days where you wake up and you're like, I don't have to go anywhere. And there's nobody checking on me. Like that mental isolation for the first time is shocking. And so for me, like what's awesome about my job and also having the program is that I'm able to offer kind of protective guidance and, you know, for any and all realms. And honestly, I still get soldiers that call me like, hey, sir, it's Danny, you know, like trying to do this or whatever. Like, hey, what do you expect? And I'll sit down there and I'll talk to them just like my soldier back in the day and just let them know. For me personally, I would say I have way more peace if there's peace to be had because I am a person of chaos. I'm 140 miles an hour. I don't sit idly well. I will, you know, and having all of this, like it fills my purpose cup because now I'm not only able to like do things that, you think about my official last day of the military was April 2023. And if you told me you're going to own a horse farm in, 3 years, you're going to be on freaking podcasts. And oh, by the way, you're going to do a metric shit ton of social media. I'm like, what? You're crazy.
First off, the third one I hate with everything in my life. Horses, never going to do it. Right? You're like, get out of here. Whatever. I don't know what crystal ball seriously. You're in, but the drugs are good there.
Well, no, dude, I mean, just think about this. Like my evolution in social media, which honestly changed my life. I was completely resistant to social media. I got into the mortgage business, struggled through that 1, 2, 3 loans a month kind of like whip-de-doos and whatnot. And then I ended up in a company on a team with a guy named Jeff Fitzer, P. Fitzer. You guys should look him up. He's kind of he used to teach like realtors and loan officers how to do social media. And because I was on his team, I had to sit in these classes, and I would sit there like all poopy pants, like, this is ignorant, stupid. I'll never do this. and he was like, Danny, like, if you just started posting, like, you'd kill it. Your stories, like, everything. And I'm like, I'm not going to wake up in the morning and take a dump and take a picture of it, tell you it's going to be a great day. It's just not who I am, right? And he starts laughing, but he's like, no, but seriously, you should try to just post. And I was getting frustrated with the business because it's very difficult to get some momentum. And then when I started posting, it was like, it 4x my business almost immediately. And now if you go back and I was doing this with one of the guys that's on my team, and I was showing him the contrast of like the growth that I've from my first post to now. And I'm sorry, I'm just going on this social media tangent, but it's probably the most shocking, aside from owning a horse farm and freaking horses, but the fact that I post a lot, but watching the quality to now, like you shoot a video and I'll sit and I'll look at it and I'll go, and then, like, I do this all the time with guys, and I'm like, hey man, let's get on the car real quick. I'm like, hey, look, you're reading a script. I can see your eyes automatically. I don't want to watch your shit. I'm like, do a jump cut script, man. Do one sentence at a time. Just shoot it and just read, just say your sentence. Look to the little camera. Like, hey, Matt Johnson, you probably want to help people buy a house because you've got a really big heart. You just do one sentence at a time. You just chop out the bullshit. That's it. Like, that's as hard as it is. Throw some overlays on it. Throw some captions. Done. But I've got this shit down. I can go from idea, get it, shoot it, edit it, and upload it in about 20 minutes because I don't care. Like, and it's not that I don't care. I'm not trying to make a movie, right? I just want you to hear this tidbit of information, because when I learn something in the business, because I'm going to do some, I do a good mix of like horses and mortgage stuff now. And it's just because, honestly, you need to really stop being a piece of shit and save your money and check out your credit more. Like, nobody wants that. They already got parents, right? So, but you're being a piece of shit, So, no. Now, I freaking love it. But I kind of ping pong back and forth because, like, the other aspect is a huge part of my life now. Yeah. But guess what? When I wake up in the morning, I walk outside and I'm going to feed 5 horses, and then cleaning, and then try to jump into work. And then, it's, you get into the kid, like you crushing work. And then all of a sudden it's like, we got to go feed. And I'm like,
So speaking of those 5 horses, we're going to get you out of here real quick, but I'm going to play a quick video, and then I want you to wax poetic about each of these horses' personalities, and then tell everybody where they can find you online, and then we'll let you get out of here. Check this out.
All right. Did you? You didn't get Atlas, did you? I thought you were
No,
gonna throw
I
Atlas.
couldn't find the new Atlas one to add. That's my fault. I'll add it later on.
Bullshit! I tagged you in that. I tagged your ass in that. Too.
I'm not perfect.
So
man.
no.
Tell
No,
me
no,
about
it's-
all the horses' personalities, though.
Yeah, sure. So, we've got Whiskey. Whiskey's, I think he's 8 years old. He's a thoroughbred, never raced. He's green, so he's not good for like a newer rider. But for like personality, I mean, he's a freaking black lab. He loves people, loves attention. He's got separation anxiety, so knees are, if he finds himself all by himself the whole time. But he's one of the most lovable horses that we have, and he'll literally lick you like a dog. You'll come over and he'll just, with his ginormous, he'll just start licking you. It's the funniest thing. So we've got him. Across we have Flip. Flip is a painted draft and draft horse with some other mix. I don't remember. So a lady owns him, but she allows us to use him for the program. He's actually a very high level dressage horse. So, like, what's really cool about all these horses is that, they're not just, like this slow walking trail horse. Like, all these horses are freaking athletes and they can do it. So Flip, like, you see him like really riding, you're like, holy shit. Like, somebody that has skill can get on him and he'll do like the prancing stuff and whatever. Like, he's beautiful. And then we have our newest horse, Atlas. So he's a 14.3 Halflinger, which is I didn't know what a Halflinger was. Honestly, my wife and then Shannon sent him to me, and I was like, shit, I don't want anything to do with buying another horse. I already have 4, but I took a trip up to go look at him, and honestly, I was like, holy shit, this horse is freaking awesome. So a Halflinger is built just like a draft horse, so a big, strong cart horse, right? He's like a mule kind of carrier thing. But and he's 6, and there was this like 9 or 10-year-old girl that owned him, and he was going and doing jumping competitions, and he was scoring really well, but he wasn't winning, and they thought it was because he looks like a chunky figure skater. You know what I mean? Like, nothing against chunky figure skaters, but like, he's just
It's gonna be hard to get the triple Lutz landed, though. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Over rotation's gonna be a problem.
Once you get to spinning, baby, so
Yeah.
no, but his personality, he's only been there for probably less than a week, but instantaneous, like, super lovable, like, comes over to you, wants attention, seeks it. He's going to be a game changer. And what's going to be good about him is, the other horses they're pretty big, right? And then you walk up to him and he's this little dude. He's like a dog. Like, my wife is scared. She does not enjoy the horses. She helps with feeding and stuff, but she won't like lead him. But like, she's actually hanging out with him and giving him some head love, which is like, hey, what's up, buddy? Which is good for her. And that was kind of the intent, because I needed something that is not like so imposing. Then there's Susie. She's a Belgian draft. So her history, she's 23 or getting ready to turn 23. But another high level horse that is like a fox hunting horse. So they like run through the woods and jump over shit and run super fast. I'm like, honestly, it's shocking to see her to move out the way that she can. Like, she's a stud. And it's like, you look at her, you think, oh man, she's done. Like, no. That, I come to find out, some horses will live 30 to 40 years. I didn't know that whenever I got into this. I didn't realize that I was buying a horse that was going to outlive me. Like, shit, kidding me? But no, she's awesome. What's interesting about her, she is a lovable horse, but she does not give it to you for free. So, she will ignore you. You go over and give her love. Oh, she gets into it. But like, she's not the horse she's an older lady. You know what I mean? So that's cool. And then we have Grant. Grant is, Sergeant Grant. So he 13 years of the Savannah Mounted Police. He's 20, I think. I mean, ages on horses, honestly, you don't really have a birth date or birth certificate on most of these horses because they've been passed around for so many times. But he's pretty much bomb proof, except for baby deer. Apparently, that's going to freak his shit out. But what's cool about him is massive. You walk up to him and you're like, I mean, So 18 hands, and this is like, here's me, I'm 5'10", and like his back is like this, and he keeps on going up. Like I rode him on day 2 after one of our better riders rode him for the first time. And so he comes with limits because he did come injured. He ended up like tearing his meniscus, but they caught it way late, so it couldn't be surgically repaired, which limited his ability to canter or run that guy and cut. That was the concern. So he came to me with like, hey, you can run trot, you just can't canter him. And because Shannon trains them, and we now had this farm, and many of the mounted police actually trained at my farm before they joined the force. And it was just kind of a perfect match made in heaven. And so she brought up bringing him there. And then, it probably took 5 months, maybe. I mean, it seemed like it was forever. I thought he was coming, and it just was one of those things coming. And then all of a sudden, I get a call, and they're like, "Hey, are you ready for him next week?" I'm like, "Oh shit!" Right? So, and he was awesome. Like I walked up to him in the field. Here's this massive giant, and they had segregated him so that he wouldn't, go play and run around and potentially get hurt. So he was kind of by himself, which honestly, it was super sad. And I was like, yeah, we need to get this going. Let's go. What do we got to do paperwork wise? Finalize this shit. And let's go. And we picked a day, and, they were coming out and they were going to do some training, and they delivered them. And like, I mean, that's where some of those shots are. And it was, he was instant. I'm home. I freaking love this place. I love this dude right here. He loves me. Like, I love it. Yeah, like I'll go lean into his stall like this, and his big ass would come over here and just go put his head right on my shoulder and just lean into me, just lean in. And I'm just like, how badass is that, right?
Yeah.
So what's fun, here's the funny thing though, all right, for all these horses, and now like, I'm gonna make a post about this, is that because we put water in their food to kind of make it a little softer whenever they're eating their grains and stuff like that, all the little shit that you buy for it, all the different kinds of foods. So it turns it into almost like really soupy oatmeal, right? Well, Flip is the worst. Flip will get into this bucket of food and just hammer it. And then you walk up to him, and he comes up, and he's like, it's like he's eating like an eating contest. And he looks like a college kid that ate pizza way too much and drank a hell of a lot of beer last night, and just is pretty like, this shit's all over his face. And I'm like, God, I mean, on the top of his nose, like freaking everywhere. I'm like, you look like you seriously look like a college kid with a terrible night.
Like a homeless horse, dude. What are we doing?
Oh
right
my
now?
God. Yeah. Like, dude, I'm trying to take pictures here. I can't even take a picture of this, So now it's really cool because the herd, the personalities are great. And I mean, shit. So how do you find us? Well, shit, man, you just go on Instagram, right? So there's a VALOR Farms RH. So it's out RH for Richmond. If you go to same thing on, and then if you go on www.valorfarms.org, and you'll go to our website, you can troll through, link up with us on social media, and honestly, shoot me a message, man. I shoot a lot of the content. My daughter does some, and one of the other ladies does it. But if it's got sweet music, I did it.
That's what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, Danny Archer enlisted in the Army Ranger Regiment, became an officer, flew Chinooks for the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, got out of the military in 2023, and by 2026 is a branch manager at Loan Depot. If you need a loan, check out Danny Archer. We'll be sure.
All 50 states, baby.
All 50. And then with VALOR Farms, the equine therapy for veterans, it's something I've heard about.
And first responders, don't forget about them.
Absolutely, ladies and
gentlemen. By the way,
Danny,
let me just say this also, and you cut me off, but like, there is no cost right now. Like, I've raised money, and I have donors that are literally sponsors that are covering the cost of people to do this stuff. So there is cost associated. I've done a good job. And I now have people that are like, good to go. Sorry, now you can finish. It's like, this ending sucks. You won't shut up.
No. This is perfect, and we'll be sure to have all the links up on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, if you need a loan, hit up Danny Archer. If you need some equine therapy with horses, hit up Danny Archer with VALOR Farms. Ladies and gentlemen, Danny Archer. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you so much for having me on. I love spreading the story. Honestly, I love like talking to you guys anyway, and I'm going to keep tagging your ass in everything I make.
Let's go.
Oh, please do. All right, catch your flight, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you. Sign off.
Go ahead.
We'll see you. All right.
Yes, sir.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so VALOR Farms, that's growing up in Kentucky and being around horses when I was young, and then kind of having a 25 to 30 year gap in the middle of not being around that. I've heard of some of the people here in Houston going to some of the places and getting that, but when you hear about it, it just seems like it's another modality of therapy that can help veterans, and that's what we do here. Future guests next week is going to be a fun one right here. I was talking to him earlier today. Eric, let me take that little thing off there. Eric Morante, United States Marine Corps boxer, motivational speaker. He is an amputee, but he is saying he is able to, with that prosthetic, he is able to fight in sanctioned boxing matches. And so we're going to hear his story next week. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, bro. You don't need your feet to box. You just need your hands.
And he's got some hands. I mean, I've seen some of the videos. It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, hey, Matt, take us out of here, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's another Thursday. It's another great story. It's another great organization, and it's another veteran doing amazing things. I mean, that's what we're all searching for once we get out. So, I mean, take from a little bit of what we said today. It's okay to get out and try new things, right? Remember those times in the military where you couldn't try new things because there was a rule against it. Well, outside the military, there are no rules, unless the ones that'll get your ass in jail, which applied to you when you were in too. But when it comes to your future and what you're trying to do, just like you tell your kids, if people still do that, I know we do, you do anything you want to do when you grow up, as long as you work hard and you go for it, right? Don't be afraid to try new things. And just get out there, do something, get involved. If you need some help, reach out to them, right? valorfarms.org. That's the place. You heard them. It's free for you to go to the program. You just got to get your ass there. And, who knows? That might be the right thing for you. As we always say, too, reach out to somebody. The next call that you make to the person you haven't talked to in a while might be the call that they needed all along, and they or you just didn't know it. So check on your friends, do those buddy checks, see how people are doing. And last, like, subscribe, and follow us. If you want to see more great stories and hear about more amazing veterans and first responders and stories, and see that veterans doing kick-ass shit in the world, this is the place to be. You have to subscribe so that you get the notification. And then, lastly, share it with everybody. I mean, don't be selfish. Share it. It's what you can do. Other than that, that's all I got for this week, and we love that you guys are joining us every week to hear these great stories, and we can't wait to see you again next week.
If you or someone you know is in crisis, contact the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255. Then press 1.